The best way to tackle complex business problems is to use a disciplined approach. Here, we introduce the 4S method, a problem-solving approach in 4 phases: state, structure, solve, and sell. The first step to solve a problem is to properly state it. A problem well stated is half solved. A flawed problem statement, on the other hand, inevitably leads to irrelevant solutions. The challenge is that formulating a good problem statement is much harder than you might think. The technique we suggest to do so is the TOSCA framework. It will help you analyze the problem at hand along 5 dimensions: the trouble, the problem owner, the success criteria, the constraints, and the actors. At this stage, your only purpose is to formulate the core question that will guide your following phases. You are not looking into potential solutions yet. Once the problem is stated, it's clearer, but it's not necessarily easier. It's still a big, hairy problem that can probably not be solved in one go. So the second phase in the 4S approach is to structure the problem. This means you will disaggregate it. You will break it down into smaller pieces that will later be solved through analysis. The structuring phase is where the analytical frameworks you learned at school will help you. Remember Porter's 5 forces in strategy or the 4 Ps of the marketing mix? These are examples of frameworks that can help you focus on the most important aspects of a given problem. There are exceptions. Some problems resist analysis. They require more creativity and are better addressed using design thinking techniques. For these problems, the structure phase will take an alternative path. Instead of disaggregating the problem analytically, you will generate as many solution ideas as you can. We will discuss this in modules 10 and 11, which are dedicated to the design thinking approach. Now that the problem is stated and structured, the third phase in the 4S approach is the actual work of solving it. Most problems can be solved analytically by addressing one by one each of the issues that your problem structure has brought to light. This is where many different analytical techniques will come into play. You might, for instance, use market research, technical experiments, operational simulations, financial analysis, and so on. Using these analytical techniques, you simply work your way from the smaller components to the core question. Again, there is an alternative path. When the problem requires it, you can use design thinking to explore the solution space in a more creative way. If you have chosen this path, you will put together prototypes of potential solutions and test these prototypes with the problem owners. The fourth and last phase of the 4S approach is to sell the solution. That's because the best solution is useless if you cannot sell it. Regardless of how you solve the business problem you're tackling, you must persuade others of its value and feasibility. In most settings, you will also want to involve your audience throughout the problem-solving process, not just at the end. But once you have the answer, you have to sell it. Focus on the recommendation and on the audience, not on the steps you followed to get there. We have presented the 4 steps of the 4S approach in a sequential way. In practice, they are much more often iterative. For instance, you will probably revisit and refine your problem statement or your problem structure in light of the results of the solve phase. You will also reconsider your solution ideas based on the comments and reactions of the problem owners. In the following modules, we will address the 4 phases in greater detail. We will explore both the analytical path and the design thinking approach to problem solving. Stay tuned.